My honey tree. The first attempt failed. The tears were real. The sincerity was visible. And nothing changed. So the ego does what it always does when emotion doesn't work. It pivots. If sorrow cannot purchase relief, perhaps sweetness can. If pain cannot soften reality, perhaps promise will. This is where the second song enters. Not as grief, as hope. My honey tree does not sound like a warning. It sounds gentle, inviting, almost merciful. Something just ahead. Something growing somewhere else. Something that will make all of this worth it in the end. The ego is very good at this move. When the present refuses to comply, it relocates meaning into the future. When now feels unbearable, later becomes sacred. When correction feels threatening, promise feels safe. Floyd does not abandon the journey when tears fail. He upgrades the strategy. He stops pleading and starts seeking. He stops apologizing and starts hoping. The belief changes costume, but not content. The belief is still that something outside the mind will fix what the mind refuses to question. The honey tree is not desire. It is justification. It is the story that says the suffering was necessary, that the confusion had purpose, that the road was not a mistake, only a delay. The ego cannot tolerate meaningless pain. If it must suffer, it must believe the suffering is an investment. So it imagines sweetness growing somewhere ahead. A tree it has not seen, a fruit it has not tasted, a fulfillment that remains conveniently out of reach. Seeking feels nobler than crying. It feels active. It feels mature. It feels spiritual. But seeking is still avoidance. It avoids the only question that would end the journey immediately. What belief is being protected right now? The honey tree keeps the mind moving forward instead of inward. It keeps attention pointed at distance instead of decision. As long as sweetness is ahead, the present does not need to be examined. As long as the promise survives, the belief does too. This is why the ego loves future rewards. They never have to be delivered. They only have to be anticipated. Desire becomes a leash that feels like purpose. It gives the illusion of direction. It gives suffering a storyline. It whispers, "Not yet." It whispers, "Almost." It whispers, "Soon." And soon never arrives. Floyd is not wrong for wanting the song. He is mistaken about where it lives. The honey tree is never found because it was never planted in the world. It grows only in imagination. It feeds only on expectation. And expectation is just another way the ego avoids stillness. Stillness would end the search. Stillness would collapse the fantasy. Stillness would reveal that nothing was missing in the first place. So the road continues. The horizon keeps receding. The sweetness remains intact precisely because it is never tasted. This is how hope becomes a trap. Not because hope is evil, but because it is misplaced. It is placed in time. It is placed in outcome. It is placed in a future that never arrives because it only exists to delay the present. Slowly, almost invisibly, desire begins to harden. What was once a promise becomes an expectation. What was once anticipated becomes something that must not be lost. The imagined sweetness turns into something to protect, and protection always introduces fear. Fear of losing the promise. Fear of arriving too soon. Fear of discovering there was never a tree at all. This is the turning point. Because when desire fails, the ego does not release. It tightens. It grips. It clings to what it believes it has earned through patience and pain. The honey tree was never the answer. It was the delay. And when the delay collapses, when hope can no longer be sustained, there is only one strategy left. Not emotion, not promise, but possession. Holding, gripping, refusing to let go. That is where the third song waits. Not as temptation, as a warning. Quiet. exact, unsentimental. Baby, don't hang on.